Hi, everybody. It's Jen Lang here. I'm sorry, I'm just watching Becky sending me questions because the Facebook Live is being a bit tricky here. And we'll see how this goes with getting questions from Becky via text and then me explaining them or talking about confidence and happiness and voice along the way. And we'll see who's joined. It might be Becky. Have you joined? It's an interesting way to do an interview, but we'll see how it all happens. Okay. And so I'll just give myself a brief introduction here because Becky's not here to introduce me. My name is Jennifer Lang, or Jen Lang, and I'm a voice and visibility coach. My background is in opera and performance, but also communications and marketing. So I'm originally from Canada. I now live in Abu Dhabi, which is in United Arab Emirates, near Dubai. And I've been here for about 2.5 years. So I teach some singing here, but I also work as a voice and visibility coach. And today I believe Becky wanted me to talk to you about voice, visibility, confidence, happiness, how they're all connected. And I've been doing some thinking about that over the past week or so that we've been corresponding about this interview. So I guess I was thinking about, do you need to have confidence to be happy? And probably no, but I would argue that confidence is an element of happiness. So having a sufficient amount of confidence leads to greater happiness or greater satisfaction. And I don't know if Becky, you want to add any questions or ask anything in here. Just type it into Facebook Messenger or into the comments, and we can get started. If people can't join us live, then they can always leave comments later, and I'll check back on the video. So getting back to confidence and happiness, jumping right in, we haven't really gone too deep into that, and I believe that confidence is an element of happiness, but it's not essential. So she said she's leaving comments, so let's see what we're doing here. I'm not sure I can see what's happening. Just give us a minute. I can't see her comments. Let's see. Oh, there's the little button. No, that's write a comment. Let's see if I can see her. Swipe left to reveal comments. Oh, here we go. There we go. I see. Hi, Jennifer. Great. Okay. Fantastic. Introduction and what I do. Great. The comments are coming up now. Perfect. I'm actually in Abu Dhabi, which is near Dubai. Good. I can see everything. Yay. It's all working together. How does it all fit together? How does voice, visibility, and confidence all fit together? And happiness into that element. Oh, I'm so excited. This is working. Good. So you'll see me glancing down at the comments because Becky and I are going to do this interview in a little bit of an unorthodox way, but it's all going to work out. You'll see the comments. And if anybody joining live has questions, feel free to pop into the comment section and I will keep my eye on the comment box. I struggled with confidence for a very long time. And, if everybody has confidence learnings through childhood and through, yes, or unorthodox. Everyone has confidence challenges throughout childhood and especially through teenage years, and sometimes they carry well over into our adult lives. And confidence is I think it's a big piece of the puzzle for happiness. I think you can be happy and not confident, but in which case there's a little bit of denial or ignorance happening there, or you're unwilling to make the changes to be even happier or even more confident. And sometimes that might involve a move. So for example, moving to the Middle East, to the Gulf region, was definitely triggering some confidence fears, like what do I do? How are women treated? Will I be comfortable there? Many sort of fears come up. And, will I be happy here? Well, pardon me, there are definitely elements of happiness here that are linked to voice and visibility. Oh, these questions are coming up so late. I will continue to talk about some themes. Let me just finish this thought on Abu Dhabi. Making the change to move here was definitely fear. There's definitely some fears there, but I knew that once I got here and started making connections and meeting people and acting in my own confidence and having confidence in my skills, I would find the happiness that I needed to stay here. To get back to your question, Becky, about I'm just saying there's a limit to your happiness level if you're lacking self-confidence, I think that there is. And I think that you're missing an element of happiness if you are also struggling with self-confidence. I don't think they're mutually exclusive in the sense that you lack confidence and can't be happy. You can certainly have happy moments, but I think you have a greater and more complete happiness when the confidence element is in place, or you're building the confidence element. This doesn't mean you should always stay in your safe zone either. So I don't know, Becky, if you have another comment about that. The comments are coming up a little tiny bit later than usual. I'll just wait a sec. No, I won't wait. Good. She understood. Fantastic. So when it comes to confidence and happiness, they're absolutely linked, but they're not mutually exclusive. So you can be the most confident person in the world and not be very happy if there are other elements of your life that are dissatisfying. If you're trapped in an unhappy relationship, if you are having a lot of financial uncertainty, or if you're in a place in the world where you really don't know what to do and you don't know how to get happier, maybe there is a genuine issue, or maybe there's a genuine situation that is in the past that is affecting your current happiness. And so you might appear confident and you might be confident in certain areas of your life. Yes, there's confidence that plays into certain areas of your life, but if they're not linked to a happiness, if your current happiness isn't, wait, let me back up because I got lost. Your current happiness could be affected by a past event. Now, if you haven't dealt with that past event or been able to release any fear, anger management, or other things around that past event, and it's affecting your current happiness, it may also be affecting your current self-confidence. So, following the linkage that Becky is talking about here, how can we follow the lines? How does voice play a part into this? What I have found in working with people's voices, male or female, I work primarily with women's voices, but I do work with men and voice and confidence. And specifically for men, it's much easier to bluster and use a strong, powerful voice to bluster their way through a situation where they may not feel confident, but they can show more confidence by speaking more loudly or speaking over people, or just being angry and blustery and brushing someone off, using their voice to disguise what they feel is actually a lack of confidence on a certain issue. So, or maybe they don't want to accept a certain truth, maybe they don't want to accept a situation, or maybe they just genuinely don't know the answer to something, and so they bluster their way through it, speaking more loudly or speaking with a firmer, more authoritative voice, because I know exactly what I'm talking about. And I've had family members who've done this, and they still do it to this day. It's quite funny now that I do the work I do. Now with women, the work I do is really geared around women valuing their own voice first and then sharing it. So by valuing your voice, I'm talking about both your inside voice, that voice that the self-confidence voice sometimes that if we're doing a video, or if we are on a situation where we're hearing our voices played back to us on a recording, that uber critical voice jumps in and says, "Oh wow, you sound really weird," or don't you look strange," or something like that. So that's one element of the voice. The other element is the physical voice. And like I said before, women's voices have often been talked over. Yeah, valuing our own voice. It's a huge element, I think, of confidence. So confidence shows up physically. So if somebody is not feeling very confident, you might see a slump in their shoulders and their body is turned in on itself. But you can fake confidence by expansion and getting the space in your upper torso specifically. But by making yourself taller and larger, you can give yourself an air of confidence. You see what I just did is there we go, sorry, I just had a call, I had to turn that off. If we're turning inward, then our voice is going to be inward as well. And so if I'm turning in and I'm crouched, you might notice my voice gets a little quieter and it's not as connected or present as if when I am automatically taller and creating space and balance, and I have length in my spine, and I have a sort of noble posture that is motivated from the ground up, then my voice is automatically more connected. And this is what I want to show to women especially, because when we are connected and valuing our voice, our message becomes so much clearer. So whether you're in business or a workplace or everyday interactions, maybe in the grocery store or asking for directions or even ordering in a restaurant, when we're connected with our voice, it has to do with visibility in the sense that if we're not connected and we're talking really quietly like this and you don't really hear what people are talking about, you automatically communicate non-confidence, which may also carry an undercurrent of unhappiness. Because if you're confident in your voice, then that's going to carry and show, and people are going to react and respond to that. So it really affects all levels of our communication. Now, the way that posture, Becky's just made a comment here about how posture impacts voice. So, yeah, posture affects our voices in so many ways. If it's actually okay with you, Becky, in the group, I'll leave a link to my YouTube channel where I have some videos I did last year on voice a little bit. I start with breath and posture and a few other elements in there. I'll leave, yeah, exactly. If you aren't confident, you aren't projecting happiness. Yeah, YouTube link. I'll add that to the video after, or share it in the Facebook group. So confidence and happiness are linked to our voices, but our inside voice as well as our outside voice. So there's that inside brain voice, which is the self-critical, wow, I look terrible in this outfit. Or, when we, that whole question, when we ask our spouse or partner, does this make me look X? Do I look good in this, or do I look good in that? It's because our inside voice has said something like, oh, you don't look very good, or you need reassurance you need some external stimulus to feel good about looking this way. Now, I have no problem asking my girlfriends or even my husband sometimes about how something looks. If I say, do you think this looks better or this looks better? But I never ask about a specific body part or aspect of myself, because it is how it is. And my valuation of myself isn't going to be affected, or I have learned too, that you can't control what others think about you. That's their business. It's not your business. So when we value ourselves more, people are going to read that in our body language, in our posture. They're going to hear it in our voice, because the confidence shows. And so they're going to respond to that. You can't control how they're going to respond. They may respond to it as a threat. It's happened. They may respond to it in kind and say, wow, what a neat person. I'd really like to meet them and spend more time with them. So there's many different ways that using our voice to be visible and valuing the visibility of our voice affects confidence and happiness. I don't know if you have any more specific questions, Becky. I'm going to talk on about a few other things. We haven't really set an agenda for this Facebook Live. So when we are connected with our voices, the confidence part of it does line up. Now, I come from a world of singing and opera and auditions and constantly being corrected on aspects of singing and vocal production or acting or stage direction. And when people are in a situation of constantly being corrected, whether it's, whether say, oh, don't do that or do this instead, it can be wearing on self-confidence. And this doesn't even happen just in theater or performing arts. This could happen in the workplace. If you're constantly corrected on something or aspects of your work, and it's not done in a way that maybe is compassionate, or it's done in a way that is vindictive or mean or cruel, then of course that's going to have an effect on your self-confidence. So I often tell clients who may have this situation that, again, you can't control what another person thinks about you, but you can control your reaction. So when you're standing in confidence and when you're standing in the value of your voice and what you have to say and what you have to share, whether it's a meeting or it's a proposal or an interaction in the grocery store, when you're standing in the value or a job interview, I'll get to that in a sec, Becky. When you are connected with your voice and you have that self-confidence, what others say or think doesn't matter. And it doesn't. You just have to learn that. If you're in a situation where you're correcting or if you're a teacher, I always advise or guide people to correct with compassion. So using positive language, it doesn't have to be happy, sparkly, happy faces everywhere. But instead of saying, you're doing it wrong, I say, why don't you try it this way? Or change feels different, changing posture feels different. Get used to the change and go into the sensations of the change as opposed to don't resist it. Or like I say, oh, don't worry, it's going to feel normal in a few days. Now, getting back to Becky's question, how can you be loud and proud through the voice? So, loud and proud are two different concepts. So, pride is, I would argue, a feeling or a sensation that can be self-produced. So, maybe you get some external feedback. Oh yeah, the sensations of the change. Yeah, definitely. So, maybe you're getting some feedback on, you submitted an amazing piece of content for maybe a blog post if you're an entrepreneur, or maybe you've submitted some form of year-end report or report card or something, and you're really proud of the work. And you get that response from your colleague and say, wow, this is really fantastic. And you can stand proud in that work. So close your eyes for a minute and imagine how that pride feels in your body. Now take in a deep breath. Where do you feel the pride? And exhale. Do you still feel the pride when you exhale? You should, because you're breathing in the satisfaction of this great feedback, which contributes to your overall happiness. There's many elements of happiness, but I would argue that pride and confidence are definitely some elements in there. Maybe think back to when you were a kid and you had a particularly proud moment. Maybe you won an award, a sports award, or a trophy, or a merit award, a scholarship. Be really proud. Where do you feel that pride? Usually we're going to feel that pride up here. Not always. We might feel a bit lower in our body where it gives a foundation, a foundational stance. But the pride in the body, or the pride in the situation, generally shows up here. Okay? Yeah, breath work and energy work. Thanks, Becky. I love this too. So, pride is definitely a factor. Being loud, there's a couple different aspects to this. So there's that blustery loud where I was talking about, where men are generally blustery loud. Some women are too. There are loud people who talk all the time and maybe speak, they just might speak so fast and so much that you can't get a word in edgewise. And they're really kind of exhausting to listen to because they keep going on and on like this. And I can't believe she wore that dress to that event. Can you believe that? So when you hear that, how does it make you feel? You should feel like, whoa, that's intense. If you are in a situation where you want to increase your confidence and appear louder or appear more proud in this situation, yeah, exactly. Just talking to hear yourself. Nobody likes that except the person talking. And quite often that talking and that type of style of communication stems from a lack of confidence because there is an element in their life about which they are unhappy, but maybe they haven't identified that yet. So there's so many facets to the way that confidence and happiness work together. Now, being loud in a confident way without being offensive or aggressive is definitely related to more of a foundation, and that's getting your breath lower in your body and bringing a certain level of integrity and gravitas to your, thanks Becky, bringing a certain level of gravitas and integrity to your message. So when you're speaking about something really important that you really want to draw people in, then you're going to lower your voice and speak a little bit more slowly, like I just did, so that you automatically want to lean in to hear what I have to say. Now, I haven't actually spoken louder, but the message is louder because I've brought you in to receive it a bit more. Okay? That's one aspect of it. Speaking loud and proud is definitely more posture-based, and I think it is definitely connected to the integrity of your message. So if you have something really important and vital that you want your audience to know, then you can have this push-pull sensation of pushing, of having that message out there. I wish pushing isn't really the right word, but projecting without yelling the message out there, but finding the foundation and the base by grounding that. So if you're sitting and doing a Facebook Live like I am now, then your feet are going to be on the floor and your sit bones are going to be really connected to your chair, because I want to speak from a place of integrity, which is naturally lower in the body. If you are loud without that foundation, it just becomes shouting, and nobody likes to hear that. So those are the sort of the two aspects of being loud and proud with using your voice. The sensations of change, just going back to the comment above, if you are hesitant or hesitating to make a change, if you're hesitating to make a change, then I encourage you to go inside and do a short, maybe some breath work or a breath meditation to really look at where you're feeling the resistance to that change. And maybe it's a self-imposed change, or maybe it's one that's been externally applied to you. Maybe it's something like, oh, I want to sleep 8 hours a night. Well, if it's going to make you happier to get more sleep, then that's a really good reason. Yes, I do, Becky. We'll have a quick breathwork tip. I'm going to get to that in just one sec. Thanks for asking. You're going to have a good reason for that happiness, by sleeping more hours a night. So I've recently made this commitment. I want to change my habit. I'd actually like to sleep or be in bed 8 hours a night. I function better on more sleep. I find it easier to get my work done, and I'm just a generally better, it's better for me. Some people function great on 6 hours a night. I'm not one of those people. Some people require 9 hours a night. I'm not one of those people. So if I'm going to make that change, but I'm resisting it, and say maybe at 9:30 at night, I'm sitting at my desk going, oh, I should go to bed soon, but I'm just going to work. I'm just going to do this one more thing. I'm just going to do this one more thing. How does it feel in my body? feels like an itch that I can't quite scratch. It might feel a little bit nauseous to my stomach by not making that change. So I'll know intellectually that I need to go to bed. And I'll know that I'm supposed to stop this activity so that I can go to bed on time. But I might not make that actual action. So by making the action, I go to bed earlier and then I'm happier. Does that make sense? I hope so. So breath work. I do a lot of breath work with my clients, and voice, posture, and breath are the three main areas that are really so beautifully connected in, it's just gorgeous. It's like, think of the intricacy of a mandala and maybe a three-dimensional mandala that expands when you breathe in and contracts a little bit as you exhale. I don't actually have a mandala to show this to you. I really want to get one though. And so as it expands, it comes in and goes out. So without a good posture, you can't get the right breath that you need to connect with your voice. And this actually came up twice today in two of my coachings with clients. And they were made aware of posture habits that were disconnecting themselves, A, from their voice, and B, from their breath. So I'll show you something really quickly for posture that is going to be super helpful. And basically it's position of head, neck, and shoulders. If any of you practice yoga or another movement art that values a healthy, free spine, let's leave it fairly general there, then you're going to want to pay attention to this, because you want your ears over your shoulders. I'm going to try and move into profile. We'll see if it'll work on the Facebook Live. Now, I have a habit sometimes of sitting at a computer like this, which automatically, you can probably hear the difference in my voice. But if I make a change like this and think of lifting from the crown of my head and lengthening in the back of my spine, then all of a sudden I'm more connected to my voice. So that's one piece of the puzzle. Your spine, ideally, your spine is never straight. It curves. And go and look on some anatomy websites or look at some YouTube videos about the spine and appreciate there's a curve to the spine, but there's also space between each of the vertebrae. So you really want the space of the vertebrae. You have to visualize that space and imagine the lift that happens when you're in that space. Automatically thinking of a more lengthened spine brings you into this beautiful noble posture, which is proud. It's also filled with confidence. So that's part of it. The breathwork tip is, conventionally, we sit at desks and we might be hunched over, or we might have some posture habits that don't really serve us. When you're collapsed in your sternum, you can't access all your breath. So that lift automatically gives you access, allows your diaphragm to do its job. So when we breathe in, the diaphragm drops and we automatically bring air into our lungs. When we exhale, the diaphragm rises and pushes the air out of our lungs. This is a very simple explanation or, guide around how breathing works. We all think we know how to breathe, and then all of a sudden as adults, we're like, why am I breathing? So the single best thing you can do for your breath is to breathe lower in your body. And the way to find it is to, first of all, pay attention to where you currently breathe. So you might want to put your hand on your sternum and one hand on your belly and see what rises and falls. If it's your chest, like this, there's a lot of resistance happening in the throat. And as we raise our chest, we're only really accessing a third of our lungs. And when we don't get enough air, we lose brain function. Our blood doesn't circulate, there's not as much oxygenated blood flowing through our body. So the breathwork tip is simply to breathe with your lower body. So basically, you want to feel expansion below your ribs and out. To find this, standing might be challenging, in which case you might want to try laying on the floor in a savasana, whatever's comfortable and safe for you. Lay on the floor with knees bent ideally first, feet flat on the floor, both hands on your belly, and just set the timer for 5 to 10 minutes. And watch and observe where your breath naturally goes. You want your hands to rise and fall in a nice regular way. And that is a really beautiful way to bring your awareness and your consciousness to your foundation, to the base of your spine, so you can start to build a confident foundation. Then, as you trust and value what you have to say more, people will understand it, and greater happiness, because you will trust and believe in what you have to say, and they will trust and believe in what you have to say and respond in kind. So this is like a crash course in the way that voice, posture, visibility, and your connection with your message leads to happiness or contributes to happiness. But if you're trying to build happiness, honestly, one of the best things you could do is join a choir. Join a choir. That's one of the best things to do. Anyway, we're going to wrap this up because it's getting to 7:35 my time. It's the evening here. And so how can people find me? So people can find me at jenlang.com. That's JENLANG.com. And I'll share a link in the Facebook group. I have just released a new ebook that I would love for you to sign up for, and it's called Step Up, Be Heard, 12 Fast and Simple Ways to Build Your Confidence and Get Visible. So be sure and check it out at jenlang.com. There's a pop-up, there's a banner across the page where you can sign up for my list and receive my 25-page ebook. It's not a huge read, but I would really like to thank Becky for having me on into this group, and I'll be hanging around in this group for a while. Feel free to ask me any questions, tag me in the post. If you have any more questions about breath and breathing and how it's connected to happiness, and to my own story, then just reach out. I'm here. Thanks so much, Becky. Have an awesome, awesome day, evening, wherever you are in the world, and we'll talk soon. Ciao for now.